Right, Deputy Barry, are you sharing or are you taking the 5 minutes? 5 minutes, okay.
Okay, so thank you, Cathaoirleach. So what we're discussing here is a new standing order which would require that opposition bills relating to banking, central banking, currency and such like would need to be referred to the European Central Bank for an opinion before proceeding through the various stages that bills pass through in this House. I'd like to start by registering our view of the body which we are being asked that the bills be sent to, namely the European Central Bank, the ECB. The European Central Bank was part of the Troika, which implemented and forced austerity measures on this country. In fact, it was probably the most hardline wing or part of the most hardline part of the Troika when it came to implementing austerity here. It was involved in forcing upon us 1% of the population of the European Union to carry the can for 42% of Europe's banking debt. When burden sharing was put on the agenda, the idea of burning some bondholders, we were told by the head of the European Central Bank at the time that a bomb would go off in Dublin, a financial bomb would go off in Dublin if that measure was to be taken. They have an agenda, it's a neoliberal agenda. This proposal is a control mechanism. I notice that both Deputy Kelleher and Minister Murphy were silent, did not mention the fact that a refusal to cooperate with this means that infringement proceedings against the state can be taken, which would mean fines being levied on the state, and did not mention either that ignoring the recommendations and the opinions of the ECB, that if an individual takes a case to the courts against the state about the legislation, that the ECB opinion that was ignored can be used as part of the evidence in that case. I think we've been told to be consistent, that there's been 33 pieces of government legislation sent to the ECB already. It seems that the ECB want a control mechanism over government bills, but now over opposition bills as well. We believe that it is undemocratic, and we will be calling a vote on this issue as well at the end of the debate. What has brought us to this point? It was a bill from Michael McGrath on the variable mortgage rates, which would mean that the central bank might be in a position to give some measure of relief to 300,000 householders paying variable interest on their loans. We supported that bill. We criticised it as well. We felt it was a very mild measure indeed. But it did, to some extent, aim to turn the tables, where instead of favouring the banks at the expense of ordinary people, favoured ordinary people at the expense of the banks, although not nearly to the extent that we would have liked. And yet, this is the bill which has caused the problem. I think that is significant in and of itself. I would be interested to know, was it merely the Minister who contacted the Attorney-General for a decision, or did the ECB contact the Minister, whether by phone, email or conversation, to ask that this would be dealt with? I have to say that I'm not surprised, but I note the fact that the mood in the Parliament has been that this has been no big deal. There's been a certain shrug of the shoulders. I have to say that I feel that the criticism that's been raised by the Sinn Féin deputy in the debate is a very mild criticism indeed. In fact, has said that they will be supporting the motion. I think that is out of step with the view of ordinary people in relation to this issue. I believe that when ordinary people read and hear about this, that they will be shocked at the level of surveillance that we're talking about here from the European Central Bank. And I think the deputies and the parties in the House underestimate the feelings of people on this issue. In conclusion, Cathaoirleach, what I would say is that this is now about the reality of the capitalist European Union and the surveillance of the budgets of member states. We saw only a couple of weeks ago how our Housing Committee felt that they could not propose that 50,000 houses would be built from state funds for fear that it would transgress European Union fiscal rules, and now tonight we see a stifling and overbearing level of surveillance from the European Central Bank in relation to not just government bills but opposition bills as well, we will be calling a vote.
Okay, Cormagat,